Hello, my name is Jennifer Sills Almeida. Today I'll be talking about program evaluation of MTSS in Algebra 1. I'm going to pull up the slide here for you. The focus will be talking about implementation, fidelity, and student outcomes. The evaluation plan outlines a comprehensive mixed methods approach to assessing the effectiveness of a multi-tiered system of supports implementation in Algebra 1. Specifically, this evaluation will assess whether Tier 1 instruction as well as Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions are implemented as intended across classrooms and whether these practices result in measurable improvements in student performance and continuous improvements. Student outcomes will be evaluated through indicators such as academic growth, mastery of Algebra 1 standards, progress over time, and looking at the reduction of achievement gaps among students that are in diverse groups. Algebra 1 plays a critical role in determining students' readiness for advanced coursework and overall high school success. Some challenges students can see are working with multi-step equations, problem solving, and reasoning. Thus, there needs to be an effective program emphasizing the critical role of responsive, data-driven instruction. This program serves all students enrolled in Algebra 1 with a strategic emphasis for those requiring Tier 2 and Tier 3 supports. This includes student groups that have demonstrated lower levels of academic performance and slower rates of growth compared to their peers, such as students receiving special education services, which are in SPED, emergent bilingual, EB students, and students identified as economically disadvantaged. The MTSS framework involves implementing high-quality standards aligned to Tier 1 instruction, supplemented with Tier 2 targeting support and Tier 3 intensive support. These are informed by ongoing progress monitoring, collaboration among instructional teams, and systematic data analysis. The purpose of the evaluation is to assess fidelity, evaluate growth, examine equity, and inform instruction and decisions. The MTSS Algebra 1 program is designed to improve overall student achievement and reduce persistent achievement gaps by implementing high-quality standards aligned with Tier 1 instruction, supplemented with Tier 1 and Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions that are informed by ongoing progress reporting. The theory of action includes data-driven and differentiating instruction, which leads to improved outcomes. Fidelity is crucial. When MTSS structures are implemented with fidelity across classrooms, this allows for student growth and equitable outcomes among all student groups. We'll be looking at 3 evaluation questions. The first one, Q1, is implementation fidelity. Focuses on how Tier 2 and Tier 3 supports are consistently implemented across classrooms. We will be also looking at question 2, which would be Q2, student growth, which evaluates the degree to which students' growth is seen in Algebra 1 as measured by MAP assessments and classroom performance data. And the final question, evaluation question, will be Q3, equity outcomes, where it investigates whether achievement gaps among student subgroups are decreasing over time and reflecting progress toward more equitable outcomes. This evaluation employs a mixed methods design that integrates both process and outcome evaluation. The process evaluation component addresses implementation fidelity within the classroom. The outcome evaluation addresses the student growth and equity outcomes, meaning whether achievement gaps among student subgroups are decreasing over time. Data for this evaluation will be collected from multiple quantitative and qualitative sources. Implementation fidelity will be collected through classroom observations, MTSS meeting logs, intervention schedules, and logs, as well as teacher survey instruments. To examine student growth, quantitative data will be collected through MAP assessments administered at multiple points in time TEKS-aligned common assessments, formative assessments, and progress monitoring data for student receiving targeted interventions. To evaluate equity and achievement data for data collection and equity, Q3 data will be disaggregated by student subgroup, which includes special education students, emergent bilingual students, and economically disadvantaged students. Data sources will look at MAP results, subgroup performance, classroom assessments, and intervention participation data. Participants in this evaluation will include Algebra 1 students, teachers, instructional coach, and campus administrators at Dripping Springs High School. Data analysis will employ an integrated mixed methods approach, combining quantitative and qualitative techniques to evaluate MTSS implementation and its impact on student outcomes in Algebra 1 at Dripping Springs High School. Analysis will explicitly be coded to look at 3 evaluation questions: implementation fidelity, student growth, and equity outcomes. For the data analysis on growth, pre and post MAP assessment data will be used to measure student growth over time, while TEKS-aligned common assessments and formative measures will assess mastery of Algebra 1 standards. When master falls between 50% and 79%, this will indicate the need for targeted Tier 2 interventions. Below 50% will be Tier 3 intervention. When fewer than 50% of students demonstrate mastery, this signals a need for reteaching and adjustment of Tier 1 instructional practices. For data analysis equity, to evaluate equity and achievement gaps in Q3, subgroups comparisons will be done, looking at SPED, special education, EB, and economically disadvantaged students, and analyze to compare growth rates and trends. Are achievement gaps at DSHS narrowing, widening, or do they remain stable? The timeline for this would be week 1 and week 2, there will be a baseline. So at the beginning of the semester, weeks 1 to 2, baseline data will be collected through MAP screening through the semester. During weeks 3 to 15, ongoing progress monitoring and scheduled MTS meetings will be conducted to evaluate implementation fidelity, Q1, and student growth, which will be question 2, Q2. Midpoint benchmarks assessments will happen during weeks 6 to 8, and it will provide data to assess program toward mastery, and during weeks 16 to 18, final assessments will be administered to evaluate overall student growth and changes in achievement gaps in Q2 and Q3. This evaluation will be conducted in accordance with established ethical standards, including the protection of confidentiality, the use of informed consent, and responsible collection, analysis, and reporting of data. Findings from this evaluation will be communicated through a structured and ongoing reporting process to ensure results are both accessible and actionable for key stakeholders at DSHS. Evaluation reports will provide comprehensive summaries of findings. Also, reports will be shared regularly with Algebra 1 teachers, instructional coach, campus administrators, and district leaders. This is concluding the presentation. Here we will be looking again at the MTS supports and how it supports all learners, the evaluation, how it will ensure effectiveness and equity, and how the data drives improvement. Thank you very much.